Today, let's look at 3 ways to handle a control freak. So what does it mean when we say somebody's a control freak or they're a controlling person? Well, there's many different ways that can present itself, and therefore it has different meanings. Basically, a control freak has the psychological need to be in charge or to be in control of others. It stems from their own psychological issues, which we're not going to get into today. That's up for them to figure out. Today, we're just looking at how we can work with that. How do you handle that? When somebody's controlling, they're basically insisting on doing things their way. They want to get in on everything. They want to have a say with everything. And they can react very negatively if you don't give them the control that they want. And the controlling can show itself not only through opinions and self-expression and demands, but also through the feeling that you're being interrogated all the time. They want to know everything you're doing. And then they may be very happy to share their opinion about what you're doing, which you didn't even ask for in the first place. It can also show by that they need to be the center of attention. They're good at dodging things. They don't want to take blame for anything. So maybe you have someone in your life who's like this. Maybe it's a coworker. You can't leave the workplace. You got to be there and deal with them. Or it could be a family member, or it could be a significant other. And if it's somebody personal like that, a significant other, a good friend, a husband or wife, why are you in a situation like that that you're around a control freak? So I'm going to mention 3 ways to deal with a control freak, but also you have to ask yourself why you're willing to tolerate that. But today I'll just focus on 3 ways to handle being around a controlling person. Number 1, let them know exactly how you're feeling in the moment that it's presenting itself. So you can't just go along with, be a people pleaser, act like it doesn't bother you when it does, succumb to their strong personality on some level. Because if you do, then you're volunteering for this in a way, right? So people who feel that they're codependent may very easily tolerate being around a control freak. So you let them know how you're feeling in the moment. If it goes on, it can fester, and then your feelings get more and more pushed down, and you get more used to just keeping everything in. It sort of desensitizes you in a way, right? Because you're not speaking up for yourself. So by speaking up for yourself, you can share your feeling about it. You know, I don't like it. It hurts my feelings when you're trying to dictate my evening for me right now, and it's only 3 in the afternoon and you have it all planned out. That hurts. Or it makes me angry when you're telling me how to do my job. Or it makes me sad that you don't trust me, dear husband or wife, that you're questioning me about every hour of the day yesterday, and I feel like I have to report to you like you're a school teacher. So make an I statement about how you're feeling, how it makes you feel. That way there's a you there, right? They're trying to manipulate on some level with their controlling behavior, get what they want, and so you're inserting a piece of you into this conversation, into this dialogue. There's a you there. What you're working on to not be passive in these situations is to connect your feeling with what's occurring in front of you at the moment. Now, that's not saying the other person is automatically going to stop with their controlling behavior. That may or may not happen, but we're trying to elevate you to where you're sharing your feelings about it. That's a good first step. And without doing this first step, feelings will fester and build into resentment, bitterness, and maybe some volcanic explosion later. But it's not so much about them at this point, it's because you've held everything in. So we don't want you holding everything in to have it be a volcanic explosion. We want you announcing your feelings every step of the way. Number 2 is don't use the word no with them. Or sometimes, depending on how something is worded, don't use the word yes with them. That can make more of a divisive wall there. And things can escalate even more. Simply reply with I statements about what you're willing to do or not do. So you don't have to say a no or a yes to that. You're simply making statements about how you're going to handle it, what you recommend, what your suggestion is here. I'm hearing your suggestions, but I think a better option may be A, B, or C. So by not shutting it down immediately with a firm no or yes, you're simply inserting where you want things to go, your suggestions, your direction. Remember, control freaks are actually very insecure people. They feel out of control on some level of their life. That's where this is stemming from. And so because they felt out of control, perhaps from childhood trauma, could be many things, their way of working with that as they get older is to try to control everything. So they're compensating for feeling out of control. And so with somebody who's feeling insecure in this way, if you shut something down right away, like, no, get out of my face, I don't want to hear this, I'm not going to deal with this, then that probably won't be very helpful. So instead, acknowledge what you've heard and make I statements about the option that you're willing to consider. A hard no or a hard yes can be very triggering to some people. And by connecting this to a yes, this can play out in terms of a controlling person trying to tell you don't do something and you saying, yes, I will. So anything confrontational in that way is not going to be helpful. And number 3 is basically reduce your interaction with them as much as you possibly can. If it's a parent, maybe you want to have no contact with them. Maybe that's necessary. If it's someone you're dating and you don't like it, well then ask yourself, why am I dating someone like this? Maybe you need to end the relationship. If it's a coworker, maybe it's worth exploring if you can transfer to a different department, work in a different cubicle to get away from them as much as you can physically. So there's gray area here because sometimes we can't always get away, but sometimes we can. And we can reduce the interaction because it will likely never improve or get better with somebody who has these controlling aspects to their personality. It's who they are. It's there for psychological reasons. Hopefully someday they'll examine why they need to be controlling, but they may never do that work and then therefore be this way their whole life. So it's more about you finding ways to reduce contact. If you notice that when you keep contact going, if you interact quite a bit with them, all of a sudden you're yelling at each other. You're throwing insults and verbal barbs at each other. It's easy to escalate when we feel on edge in this way. So the more you can remove yourself from the picture, the better. So a quick little video about 3 tips to deal with controlling people in your life. But again, don't forget to ask yourself why you're allowing a control freak to be in your life if you have say over that. These are things you have to go inwards with yourself and ask yourself what that's about. Love to hear any comments you have about this video. Please leave them in the comments section below. Please subscribe to my mental health YouTube channel if you like these kind of videos. And until next week, this is Brad Shore signing off from Ask a Shrink.